my god, that episode?
Okay.
Seriously?
So it blew my mind. Mouth to the floor. Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And that one moment when that one thing happened?
Oh, yeah. I was
right?
like, I screamed.
What do you think, Shanique?
Allie?
Jess, where'd you go? Where's everybody?
Bailed.
We're by ourselves for girls' night. It's just the two of us.
But that's okay. Two's a party when I'm involved.
Two is a party. Hey!
When that's involved. We're a little late. It's Monday,
yes. But... apologize for the video being late.
Yeah.
But
better late than never.
Yes, better late than never.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
When circumstances come up of school and work and tiredness and old age.
And out of town boyfriends.
Yes.
But I'm here. Ash is here. We have pizza.
All by ourselves. And this episode was insane.
Crazy.
Insane.
Where do we even start?
I think that's
Aiden.
where
we should start calling him Aiden.
Yeah, I think his name is Aiden. We're running through a maze, and it's kind of a flashback of when she was training, the Chinese dude was training her, and all that. And you can see, we're not stupid. We know that there was some type of interest there between the two of them, and they were always competing against each other, and so you can tell something was developing with their side story. But we also see Daniel and Victoria talk about Emily, because where the episode starts off is where Emily's pissed off at him because he tried to save her from the what did we say last week, the guy from 24, Bill. Do you remember that conversation Jenna had with Victoria? Like, Victoria asked,
on the balcony.
Yeah, didn't Victoria ask, like, you miss her, or she made a comment like, you miss her, don't you?
Yeah.
And he kind of was just like, I'm with Ashley now.
Oh,
Oh, we see the flashback of when Gordon calls Victoria on the plane.
White-haired man.
Yes. And we see what really happened with the whole Victoria and the whole plane thing at the end of the first season.
Yeah. I knew it was too good to be true.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was Conrad who orchestrated the whole plane going down, because he was trying to ultimately get rid of Victoria. His whole plan to take down the plane, unless Victoria agreed to split Charlotte's inheritance with him. Gordon's dead.
Yes, so he is dead because remember she stepped in his blood.
And
we were both eating pizza
and we're
at
like,
that time. We're like, ugh.
Barefoot in blood. Nasty. It was
gross.
like, you heard. Okay, anyway.
They search Gordon.
Oh,
Emily and Aussie, British Aiden, whatever your name is. They search him. Victoria calls, and ultimately it distracts Emily, so that way the Aiden guy, he was searching him, found the key to a motel room, and he puts it in his boot. Emily doesn't see it. Of course, the moment he puts it in the boot, she turns around and he's like looking at the passport, and it was Victoria's passport.
Right.
I don't remember their conversation exactly, but Emily and Aiden were talking, which resulted to her hitting him. We see the Graysons.
The Graysons
are back together. We see the Graysons, we see Victoria and Conrad sitting at the end of their table, and Ashley walks in, and I'm so excited, she is back to the assistant. Because remember in the first episode, if you watched the first episode, she had an assistant, and she was telling the assistant what to do.
Yeah.
But now that Victoria's back, she has to be demoted, back down to her little position she's in.
Bye. So Emily's at Nolan's office.
Yes.
And they're talking about the phone, whether or not Gordon's phone,
whether he can,
whether or not, he can save it, salvage any voicemails or anything from it. And so Nolan's like calling Emily Ems, and he's like, oh, she's just we cohabitate or whatever. And while he's talking to his Indian princess, Jasmine, I like to call her.
Sorry, last week.
Disclaimer. So I'm gonna call her Princess Jasmine. Obviously she's so into Nolan, and Nolan's playing this like I'm coy, kind of cool kind of guy, but I thought he was gay.
Aiden goes to the motel, finds the bomb thing. I don't know what it is.
It looked like it said like lightning, or
it's something with the airplane that could have been the bomb or whatever. He walked out. He talks to the owner because the owner notices that she hasn't noticed him, and she confronts him, and he shows that he has a key, and then he said that he's a detective, right?
Detective Lasky.
So she calls the sheriff's department or whatever she calls, and she asked for the detective. They say, we don't have that detective here, blah, blah, blah. So
dun.
Yeah, so it goes commercial break.
Law and Order.
So then Emily and Amanda talk because Emily wants to cause some drama. She wants to stir the pot right before this press conference of Victoria talking to the world about her disappearance or whatever she had. So she has this journal that's her father's, but really she tells Amanda, I thought we were family, so you need to stick up for me.
Total guilt trip, by the way. Totally guilt trip
into
doing that.
And so that leads to later when Amanda takes the journal to Charlotte. And
that's when it hit the fan.
Yes. What I have is the Aussie guy tells Emily that he has the evidence from the flight. And he asked for all her belongings. You remember this?
Yes, and then I wrote
all of Gordon's belongings.
Yeah, I wrote, why does Aussie want WHM's items? White-haired man.
Aiden asked Emily for Gordon's belongings in return for this evidence that will help her in the end when it comes against the Graysons about the flight drama. So what Emily does is she grabs his stuff, but she also puts away Gordon's cell phone, and she also keeps a pocket watch.
So at the press conference, we see Emily walking in, and so she sees Ashley, and she's like, hey, is there any way that you can, something about valet and like having her car pulled. This was just a diversion so that Amanda could talk to Charlotte upstairs and give her the book. But before this, while that happened, Daniel came down and they were talking. Daniel was talking to Emily, and then a bodyguard, or like a Secret Service agent to me, handed Daniel like a letter. And so he opened it right in front of Emily, right? And so he's like, it's a letter. Did you have exactly what it said?
Faking your death and disappearing didn't work. Let's do the death part for real this time. Daniel knows everything was a lie.
All of it. While Emily is talking to Daniel, Charlotte is upstairs with Amanda, and so Amanda gives her the book, and she's like, the things about your mom aren't true.
Yeah.
Or no, they're pretty bad.
It's time that you know the truth.
It's time that you know the truth, yeah. So she reads it. So simultaneously, great editing, by the way. Soon as Daniel finishes reading the letter, Charlotte storms down and
but her mom was having like a one-on-one interview with this journalist.
Yeah.
Charlotte pretty much says, I know the reason why you don't want me to be close to Amanda, because Amanda knows what really happened with my father.
Yeah.
And what you did, blah, blah, blah. And that leads to Victoria telling the interviewer that it's done, and she storms out following her. And then we see Daniel run to Conrad and show the passport, and then he also figured it out that
Conrad knew
about the setup on Gordon.
Yes.
And then
so many lies.
The best part for me was when Victoria and Charlotte were running down, and Daniel says, you two get in here, and he said, I think, what did he say? I mean it now?
He was like, I mean it right now.
And the way he just
authoritative.
Yes, oh my god.
I thought it was sexy.
Yes, it was so funny though at the same time.
A lot of the secrets kind of rose to the surface. My favorite part was when they leave the parlor area and Daniel's staying there, and Emily sits there with like this smirk on her face.
Oh, yeah.
And Daniel looks at her and he's like, I apologize for anything my mom ever did to you. And Emily just sits here and she's just like, one thing about your mom, you have to play her game better than she does.
Yes. Right before this all happened, we see the Duckland story. His side plot right now isn't that important to me, so I feel like we really shouldn't elaborate on it.
Yeah.
But in the beginning of the episode, him and the kid that we think is causing drama for Duckland, am I even saying his name right?
Declan?
Declan or Duckland?
Declan.
Declan. And Homeboy, I haven't written down his Homeboy because I don't know his name.
Me either.
Were stealing stuff at a house, and that was the beginning. But then fast forward to in between all this Grayson drama, a guy comes to the bar and he shows Jack Declan's, I'm gonna say Declan again, Declan's ID, and says, I saw two kids stealing in my house. They left this behind. Declan shows up. Jack apologized and said, "There's anything," and this is that part. If there's anything that I can do to make you not press charges, I will. Blah blah blah. Long story short, homeboy looks around the bar and he's just like, I'll hold you to that, and walks out. And I paused it because I'm like, my mind's rolling for the season.
Yes.
And I told her, I said, I think my theory on this is that he will eventually buy the bar off from them or do something to where they have to give him the bar, which leads to them having to move into the Amanda boat. But at the end, if you remember the first part of the first episode, the Amanda was in the bottom of the ocean and we saw a hand, and I feared that it's Jack.
I think you just
I figured it out.
Season.
Season's done. Walk away.
Over.
Back to the Grayson drama. They are all arguing, all going back and forth.
Web of lies.
But Victoria decides that she's gonna turn it all around.
Oh, in classic Victoria fashion.
Yes.
All eyes on her. Big old deal. At the press conference, she's standing there and she's like, I'm Victoria Grayson, and I have one of my greatest blessings is my daughter, my love child, with David Clark, Charlotte. Charlotte's like, the hell? She's putting her cards on the table. She's calling everybody's bluff right now. You know, her husband, who has helped her, been by her side throughout her infidelity, and then her loving son, who's been there, like all this stuff. Then
she said there's also one last family member who we need to stop ignoring pretty much and treat as they're one of our own, because they are half part of this family. And then she says Amanda Clark, and sure enough,
we're like, what?
Everybody, yes, we were like, what the hell is going on? You see the whole family with Amanda up there holding hands, and she pretty much threatens the world and says, if any of you guys try to tear us down, we'll always stay together. And right before the commercial, did you hear Ashley to Emily say, oh my God, I wrote it down exactly, oh my God, they're stronger than ever. She told Emily that
in the last scene. So Amanda's sitting there in her house. She somehow has the cell phone from Gordon's cell phone, and she's listening to the voicemail, and she has the pocket watch, and the pocket watch has a photo of her mom inside of it. And so she's previously said in the scene, or in the show, that she thinks that Gordon and her mom had an intimate connection somehow. So she's listening to the voicemail, and it's a woman's voice, and she says, hey Gordon, it's me. Someone just left the hotel with a picture drawing. I know what I'm supposed to do, close up shop and go dark, but I hope that's not the case. Did she say I love you or something like that?
And she said I love you.
She said I love you.
I hope you're okay and I love you.
Yeah. Instantly, Ashley and I are like, wait.
Oh my God.
A tear rolls down Emily's face, and then it clicks for me. I don't know if it clicked for Ashley, but it clicked for me.
Oh, it clicked the moment.
Light bulb. That's her mama.
I'm so pissed at myself because I'm like, we saw what her mom looked like the whole first 2 episodes.
And didn't even think to put it together.
And we did not think to put it together. We'll do the 2 questions. So the first question, we're going to do it every week, is our rate for the episode. So what is your rate?
Out of 5?
Yes.
I give it 4.5 out of 5.
I'm going to give it a 4. What do we think is going to happen next?
Okay, next.
Question number 2.
I think we're going to find out more of what Victoria really knows.
I think Daniel and Emily are going to have more contact this next episode.
I hope so.
I hope so too, just because we're not Ashley fans. Cannot stand Ashley. says Ashley. We normally would do our signature drink of the week, but because everybody but ourselves aren't here, we didn't have a signature drink. And again, we're not sponsored by them or anything, but we resorted to
but if you'd like to.
I know, right? The Bud Light Lime Ritas.
So good.
That is it for episode 3 of our Revenge recap. We hope you guys enjoyed it, even though it's just the 2 of us here and we were all by ourselves.
Double the fun.
Links below is our Twitter and Instagram. That's what it was.
Yes.
Twitter and Instagram below if you want to follow us and see what we're doing in our day-to-day lives.
Yep.
Leave comments about what you thought about episode 3 or any comments you have about what we discussed. And don't forget to subscribe up here, like the video down there. Till next week,
we'll see ya.
Stay cool.
Why we both pieced it at the same time. And killed him.
That was last episode.
I missed it.
You know what happened.
I know.
So
I know.
She's just make sure you guys
I'm making sure you watch.